Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Mirror's Edge video walkthrough. This is the 10th mission. It is entitled Sanctuary. We're once again tasked to do Mirror's Edgy things, so we're going to be using a lot of our gadgets, a lot of our wall running abilities, and progressing towards the mission objective, which is just a couple distance this way in the City of Glass. So let's talk a little bit about the design behind the combat in this game. I've briefly mentioned it. I haven't really had too much time to talk, and this is only a 4-minute video, so once again I can't go into the depth that I would like to, because unfortunately it doesn't really afford that kind of analysis with these really quick missions. But if anybody's played a shoot 'em up, I think this game should have more in common with those games than it does with itself, and that might be a confusing statement to say if you don't know what I mean. Well, the big thing about shoot 'em ups is they have a precedent of popcorn enemies, which are enemies that are designed to empower the player. They're an enemy that takes very little damage, explodes generally quite beautifully, and gives you feelings of, you know, empowerment, of overcoming something. And, you know, you're a badass, you destroyed all those awesome looking ships, they're gone. And then the big dude turns up and he takes a little bit more, fills the screen with bullets, and then you just manage to kill him, the bullets cancel, and then you're back to the popcorn guys and you go through the line of learning the path of the level. That's what I think Mirror's Edge should have been. I think this game should have had sequences like this, where there's a dude just stood here in the way so I can jump and kick him and keep full momentum. There could have been two people here, where you kick one into the other and they both fall off a ledge. The combat should have never taken center stage in this game, in my opinion, because the movement is why you're here, and if you're not here for the movement, it really makes me wonder what kind of game you think this is, or how you exactly play it. Maybe you don't use the run button, maybe you just, you know, pedestrian your way through it, which would be fascinating to see somebody enjoying that, but, you know, I don't put it past the creative minds of human beings. But the combat is not something that I think anyone's going to be coming back and, you know, trying to get better at, because it just seems really goofy. And that's coming from somebody who appreciates goofy combat too. Every so often, combat can be goofy. I think that's a valid way of doing it. But when your combat is goofy, it's perhaps best not to force it down the player's throat, because then it becomes tedious. And Flytrap was a fantastic example of that. It was forcing a couple of waves of enemies on us in a sequence that is just not really what the game does best. And I'm curious if anybody else has thought of a way of doing it that is a little bit different to the way the game does it, that you think is more in the spirit of Mirror's Edge. Because I just don't think that the whole gauntlet arena, wave after wave enemies is something that would have ever suited this game, and I think the gameplay speaks for itself, because running around and just jumping off of things and kicking people in the face is funny for about 10 seconds, and then you realise that there's just nothing to it. And that makes two of you. And then the one-on-one engagements could have been really, really well done if there was more depth to them, if they were similar to something like Condemned, or just utilising a parry system or some kind of blocking system. There's so many ways that you could add to this combat. There aren't necessarily groundbreaking innovations that would make it feel like you're in a larger measure of control and more satisfying results. But thank you for watching, guys, and you take care now.